Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. We have a lot to get into. Pirate trade deadline coming up. The Big Ten may want to play football after all. Some criticism from a local Pittsburgh Steeler. We'll also get into the Steelers, and a national broadcaster said they're going to finish under 500. #1 topic tonight, however, on the #1 topic, Cochran Sports Showdown, will be the Penguins, who are busy this week, making a trade already and likely to make more. And here is your panel to discuss it with you. We have from 93.7 The Fan, bottom corner over there, Mr. Jeff Hathorn, sports director, does a great job. And then two representatives from the Athletic Pittsburgh. Josh Yohe, covering hockey, does a great job there. Mark Kaboly covering the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's start with you, Josh. Kasperi Kapanen brought here #1 pick, another one. Jim Rutherford has not used many. He's traded a lot away. Tell me about this trade, and was this the right move to make at this time?
Well, first of all, I hope you like my headphones, Bob. Here's the thing. Kapanen's a good player. On the surface, he makes them better. He will make their top six better. He's fast. He's only 24. There are a lot of positives. My initial reaction, it's a lot to give up. You give up a first-round pick, one of your better prospects, a couple of other pieces, although those weren't as significant. Pretty aggressive move by Jim Rutherford. So I want to see what he does the rest of the summer, and I know he's going to be really busy. I like Kapanen. Man, that's a lot to give up, and it's pretty clear to me the Penguins are trying to win a cup in the next 2 years because they know when about 2022 comes, it's going to get ugly in a hurry.
Yeah, and really, I don't mind it. Go for it now. I mean, you've only got these guys for a couple more years. Just try to get everything you can out of this team, and if that means in 3-4 years they win 20 games, that's fine by me. 15 games, as long as they go for it now. It's the criticism we've had of the Pirates. I think Kasperi Kapanen is more than just the offensive player we remember being drafted. He's a little bit more two-way. He can play some special teams as well on the PK. So I think he's a versatile player and definitely will help the top six. And obviously Evan Rodriguez didn't play into their plans because he didn't even sniff the postseason. So yeah, I think Hollander is an intriguing prospect, but nobody jumps out at you. And first-round picks are a roll of the dice. I mean, I know there's criticism. Everybody freaks out with first-round picks, but I don't know if they've lost a lot of the first-round picks that they've given up.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to criticize him for making that move because he does want to win now, and that window is, a couple years from being slammed tight, slammed down pretty tightly there. But it can't stop here. He has to move forward and make some other deals because I think the deals that he has yet to make will really determine if this is a good trade or not. Because when I look at the Penguins in the playoffs and even parts of the season, I don't see a winger as a necessity that would have put them over the top, so to speak. I think there's other issues that need to be addressed. So if you don't address those as well, I think it's just a waste. But as for the draft picks given up, or the #1 overall or 15th overall pick, I mean, those are a dime a dozen hockey. You can hit or miss on that one. I'm not worried about that, but he's going to have to make some more moves.
All right, next move could be goaltender. Josh, you've talked a lot to Jim Rutherford, and he said he's pretty much going to part with one of them. Most likely it'll be Matt Murray for a lot of reasons. Money is a big one there. What do you think the return could be, Josh, for a Matt Murray, given his last 3 years of performance? He was terrific in those Stanley Cup runs, but last 3 years, not so much.
Yeah, Bob, I hope Penguins fans aren't expecting a huge return because I don't think they're going to get one. 3 years ago, yeah. Even 2 years ago, sure. The fact of the matter is, in 2 of the past 3 seasons, Matt Murray has been below average at the NHL level, bottom line. And there are a ton of goaltenders available in the free agent market later this summer into fall. So, yeah, somebody will give him a shot. And I do believe he'll be the goaltender that's traded. I'd be shocked if it's Kirsten Jarry. But I'm telling you right now, the return isn't going to be that big. Maybe a second or third round draft pick, maybe a decent prospect. I don't think it's much more than that.
Yeah, and I agree with Josh. I think it is the free agents that really block any type of return. You're going to have to find a really nostalgic general manager that remembers the cup wins and the things he did in the postseason a few years ago and thinks that they can get that Murray back, that they have the answer to get that, and they're afraid that someone else might also feel they have the answer. Just takes two to negotiate against each other. And Rutherford, obviously is going to look for the best deal, but I'm with Josh. I don't think he's going to get a lot unless there's somebody or two that are thinking that they can change him. They could get back to that, and they bid against each other.
I think his best ability right now is his age. Plus, he has a whole year left under his contract where, you can make a determination if you would want to sign him long term if you trade for him. But he reminds me right now of what you get in return with Vegas did last year or this past season when they got letting him from I forget where they got him from. They got him into backup Flurry in Vegas. It seems, I believe it was a second, third round pick there as well. So right where Josh is right there, I think you're not going to get much more from him, out of him right now. So put it this way, it's better to get rid of him now than get nothing from him next year, in my opinion. So
all right, you got a couple of minutes left here.
Rounder, it's better than nothing.
I want to talk about just the window, okay? The window, I think all of us agree the window is open. We look at it from this point of view. But if you look nationally, a lot of people are saying the window is not that open for the Penguins. There are too many teams that have passed them by. First of all, Jeff Hathorn, do you agree with that? Do you think, because it's more and more difficult when you look at speed from some of these young teams, and the Eastern Conference is littered with teams that have young players playing at a very high level. Look no further than what you see in Philly and the Islanders, as well as some of the other teams at the Penguins. Even Montreal's got some good young guys to build around. Do you agree that window is fully open, half open, about to be shut? Where's your opinion on that one?
Well, if you're going to hold a race, the Penguins aren't going to win that race anymore. They're not the fastest team in the NHL, but, they have 4 players that are in their 30s, and they've got a lot of young speed still. I mean, Zucker's young, Tanev's young, Rust is still young, Gensel is young, and it's not like Crosby's slow. Malkin can still play the game. It's not that Letang is slow. Now, Hornquist, but he's never been a speed player. I don't think it's as bad as the postseason made it look. I don't think it's been as much a talent as attitude. I mean, attitude is something that has to switch with this team. They didn't care this postseason. They didn't bring it as a team. I think that's a bigger issue than the lack of speed.
No, I completely agree. And when you look at the Penguins on paper, they're still impressive. And that didn't just magically disappear because of 4 bad games against the Canadiens. So I will not say the window is slammed shut. I don't think it is. They need some younger players who are hungry. It's very clear to me, especially in the bottom 6. They need to figure out the bottom 6. The top 4 are still really good on the blue line. The top 6 of forwards really good. Let's just assume for a second that Tristan Jarry's the guy. We don't know that he is, but the talent is there. Maybe he is. They need to figure out their bottom 6 in a big way. Jim Rutherford needs to have a great offseason, and Jim's a home run hitter. He either hits it out of the park or he strikes out. That's what he does. We're going to find out this summer what he can pull off, because I still think there's a couple of years left where they can make a run, but it's not getting any easier.
I want to know, can anybody explain to me on the panel where the attitude change is going to come from, when that attitude is from basically the 4 or 5 people that have been a part of this for the past 8 or 10 years? Is it just going to magically happen? Or they have to get rid of Sullivan? I mean, something has to happen. I blame the leaders at the top right here. I mean, but the thing is it's hard to say if the window's shut, because you see a lot in every sport that you don't have to have those superstar players to be a good team. If you have a solid team, you can still win championships. You just might have to do it in a little bit different way. And one thing, and what Jeff reminded me of what he said, who was the fastest team in the league about 3 or 4 years ago? That went downhill in a hurry now, didn't it?
Yep, and they set the standard, and everybody followed. And now they're trying to make up ground there. And as far as Sullivan, I would be cautious with that, just because I see with Barry Trotz, Washington said, all right, we can win without you. No, you can't. And at least they haven't, and the Islanders have. All right, we have plenty more coming up. But first, I want to remind everyone out there that now is the time for you to make a smart play during the summer sales event at #1 Cochran Ford, Allegheny Valley. Listen to this. You're going to get 0% interest for 72 months on most 2020 Ford models, including the best-selling F-150 Super Crew. Or you can choose incredible lease offers. Shop their safety-conscious showroom or buy online at Cochran.com and choose contact-free home delivery or express curbside pickup. It's all going on right now, only at #1 Cochran Ford, Allegheny Valley, in-store, online. When we come back, we're going to delve into Steeler issues next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.